We welcome to the Only Fools and Horses podcast, Nabil Elouahabi. How's it going?
Well, thank you. Although I'm embarrassed to be eating a biscuit as you introduced me, sorry.
That's all right.
How are you, gents? All right?
Yeah, we're very good, but better known as...
Gary.
Gary.
Yeah. That's right, yeah. The one of the joys of my acting career, for sure.
And how did you get that role in the first place?
Oh, God, it's going back 20 years now, my friend. I auditioned for it. I do remember the process. I auditioned for it. I wasn't, at that point, obviously I was aware of the show, but I wasn't aware of its enormity because, to be honest, I didn't watch much TV. I knew that it was on. I liked it, but I wasn't like a fan. And then I went in and at the same time, I was doing an independent film. And I remember I went in, read the one line. They talked to me about what was going on. They explained to me that one of the reasons that they were concerned is because it was going to be a live studio audience. They wanted an actor who'd had some experience, who wasn't going to be intimidated by being out in front of the public, as it were, in terms of in a live studio context, which is quite intimidating. But luckily, at that point, I'd already done quite a bit of theatre, so I'd spent a lot of time, with audiences, so I wasn't that it felt like an actual place for me. So that was the first part of the interview, and then what happened was I got the job, and then I was told that there was a problem with one of my availability dates. If you remember the episode, obviously the guys go over to France. And what they wanted to do is there was a portion of the filming which was going to be in Dieppe, in France, and they needed me there, and I wasn't available because I was doing a film. So then I got the call saying, "Look, from my agent saying, look, I'm really sorry, Nabil, but it's not going to work out. These dates clash." So I was absolutely gutted because it was work. And then I got a call back saying, John Sullivan really likes you. He's your favourite. So they've dropped the scenes in France so that you could do it.
Oh, wow.
Which was really, really, really lovely. So that's a kind of a slightly rambly version of how that all came into being.
When you say the scenes in France, Nabil, is that the ones we see? It's with your father, isn't it?
Well, no, that's all back in the UK at that point. Was that? I can't remember. No, it was the part where they're actually loading up the van and all that. They wanted, to be honest, they just hadn't thought that there is no real. I mean, yes, they wanted to place me in France visibly. So I don't know how they were going to do that. Whether it was I'd be outside the store because the story is obviously my dad's this entrepreneur and he's got lots of money and I'm just helping out in the warehouse, which is how I've ended up in the back of their lorry, in the back of Denzel's lorry. But they just realized that actually it wasn't absolutely crucial, that they can make it work otherwise. So I mean, I think had it been a more complicated situation, then I probably would have lost the job. But with somebody like John Sullivan, obviously if he wants you, he wants you. And that's actually one of the highlights of my career, meeting somebody like that, working with him. He was such a lovely man, very generous, very nice in that business, especially for an inexperienced young actor, which is what I was at that point. I'd done a couple of years of work, but I wasn't, kind of experienced. So yeah, there you go.
What did you think of the script when you read it? When the first time you read it, did you think?
I thought it was hysterical. I thought, that's probably a little bit exaggerated. I thought it was funny. I didn't really fully see how funny it was until I saw it.
And what was it like wearing Del Boy's pajamas and dressing gown?
But the funny thing again is I was slightly protected against being in awe of any of this stuff because I wasn't like a super fan. I've always been like that. I don't really, not to say that I'm not intimidated, but I'm never kind of in awe of the business. I've never been that way inclined. I mean, I've worked with all sorts of people. It doesn't really faze me too much. I'm like, well, here we are again, take it in my stride. That's been a bit of a superpower in a way, one that is just unwittingly. So I just enjoyed being up there working because, doing a live studio audience was a lot of fun. I love having the audience there. And the guys were really, really warm and welcoming to me. You know, they were very, very warm. You know, you're walking into a family of 20 years. You know what I mean? In fact, to this day, I'm still good friends with Gwyneth. You know, with Cassandra's character. Yeah, with Gwyneth, we're still good friends. I just bumped into Nicholas maybe about 2 or 3 years ago. I think he was filming that police thing that he does with I think it was Dennis Waterman and a bunch of the other guys.
New Trick.
Yeah. And I remember it was on the Goulburn Road in W10, which is where it was actually a while ago. It must have been, oh God, 2 years. I'm talking rubbish. It must have been about 10 years ago, actually, you know, while they were still filming that. And there was I noticed that they were filming, and obviously whenever, as an actor, you notice people are filming, you're always curious as to what they're filming. And as I walked there, the director was a guy called Brian Grant, and he had directed me in something years and years ago. So I saw him first, and I thought, oh, it's Brian. And, you know, so I said, hello, Brian, how are you? And he immediately remembered me. He directed me in a pilot called As If for Channel 4 years ago. And then as he was speaking, I saw Nicholas across the road standing there. And I thought, I wonder if he'll remember. Like, of course, I knew he'd remember me, but I was curious as to how he would kind of, you know, see me, because I hadn't seen him, you know, since the day. And I looked at him and I went, Gary. And he just, bless him, he came straight over, gave me a big hug, asked how I was. You know, very warm person, very decent man, actually. Yeah, so there you go.
And Nabil, it does feel very much like a family, doesn't it? It sounds a bit mushy, but it's true. They're very close, aren't they, the cast?
Well, you know, this is what happens. I mean, I guess in any work environment, you end up developing a kind of, it is a type, you know, it's another community of yours, right? So in that respect, yeah. But, you know, hadn't really fully appreciated the length of time that those guys have worked together for. I mean, they've worked together for 20 years. It's like insane. You know, and that in of itself is enough to make a kind of unit, let alone to work on such a beloved show, and to be part of the kind of, literally part of the fabric of comedy television in the United Kingdom. I mean, it's like there isn't a place, to this day, it's the thing that I go everywhere and people will be like, oh, it's Gary, you know, all the time. And that's 20 years ago. One episode.
And you're fine with that, aren't you, Nabil? It doesn't bother you.
I'm totally fine with it, yeah. I mean, it's not like people are coming up to me saying, where's my money? It's great, you know, people are pretty respectful. And I think there's another thing. If you make people laugh, they deal with you differently. There's a warmth that they have to you. Because if somebody makes you laugh, it makes you smile. You're like, oh, yeah, you know, it's that kind of a feeling. It's different from being like an actor in a drama where people may respond to you for being famous. Literally, that's it. You know, you're on the TV, you're famous. I'm gonna, you know, and that's enough to impress me. Whereas with the Gary thing, it wasn't that. It was like, wow, you were really funny, and that was a really good episode. That's the thing that I keep hearing, and you know, and I'm lucky. I think I did luck out with that episode. I think it was a strong episode, irrelevant of. The conceit of it was really funny, and the whole setup was funny. So I was very lucky like that. No, I have a lot of gratitude for it, and you know, even now to this day, pre-COVID, obviously, you know, sometimes I'd go and do the conventions, you know, and the general feeling is that of pure warmth. You just forget how important it is, you know, to laugh. It's such a. People say this like kind of casually, but I mean this fully. It's a really healing thing to laugh. It's really good for you to laugh. It helps, you know. It helps.
Do people shout Gary at you? Is that the most common thing that happens?
Yeah. I mean, it's between that and other things. Like, you know, I've been lucky enough to do a few things, and just depends on the demographic and the people who are interested in it. You know. So, for instance, you know, I mean, I do find that. There is just a lot of, you know, for some reason, van men love a Gary. All the guys in the vans, you know, all the workers, you know. I just think it's like a real working class thing. Do you know what I mean? It's a real working class show. And I think there's and it's also an affectionate look at the working life, the working class experience, just trying to make things happen. being a hustler, you know, of being a really bad hustler. It's not really like, you know, the worst, you know what I mean? Log effects, gas fires, God almighty, you know what I mean? But, you know, one of the things that John had said was that all of these stories had come directly from his experiences. It all happened to his family.
And that's why it's so good, I think, because it's based on real life experiences.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the episode I did wasn't that, but
no.
He just says he draws from those characters that come out, you know, those situations, and certainly a lot of the early storylines, and you know, in the series have come, you know, all those have come from direct stories that he'd experienced, and you know, certainly growing up in West London in a working class environment with a mixed community, there were many Del boys. I mean, you know, it's I think that's what cuts across, you know, makes it kind of so relatable. It's like everybody knows somebody like that, especially if you're working class. Everybody knows somebody who's always got something to trying to get rid of. It's insane.
Did you watch your episode on Christmas Day, Nabil, like the rest of us in 2002?
Now, here's the funny thing. I'm embarrassed to say I can't remember whether I watched it live. I think I did. I think I watched it. I can't remember. Is the truth. That's terrible. I remember obviously filming it and all that. I'm not big on watching my stuff. Especially back then. Now I do. Now I try and watch it, but I watch it very clearly. I mean, like previously I was like, why am I watching it? It's like just to say, oh, that's, you know. Whereas now I watch it with a critical eye. I watch it to think, okay, what can I do differently? What worked, what didn't? So I kind of watch it through a kind of a professional lens, as it were, trying to be a bit forensic about it. But I don't tend to watch stuff. Specifically back then, I felt uncomfortable watching it. I just didn't like watching myself.
Yeah, I mean, I find that a lot with actors. They don't like watching themselves back, do they? For some reason.
Kind of funny,
like
isn't it? It's a funny thing.
Critical eye, I guess, because you're looking at it at a different point of view, aren't you?
I mean, I started watching something that I was in and I didn't like what I was doing, and it really upset me, and I switched it off. It was like, oh, I don't want to watch this shit. Excuse my French, you know, I didn't buy it, you know what I mean? And but that's, I mean, look, you know, nobody's saving lives here, but you know, you want what you do, you want it to matter, you want it to land. I mean, there aren't that many things. You have to have pride in something, I guess.
What was your favourite memory about being on the set?
What's that? Sorry, love?
What was your favourite memory of being on the set?
Well, there were a couple. There was the first time that I arrived in Bristol, which is where we were staying to do all the Mandela House, all the market stuff, because that's where it was filming at the time. And I remember walking into this quite grand hotel, and it was an old building because it was kind of all like old dark wood and candles. It was really lush. And I remember walking in, and they were all sat there except for, well, it was Denzel was sat there, Krieger was there. There's a few of them, and God forgive me, my memory's so bad at the minute. What's Trigger's name again? The actor.
Roger Lloyd Pack.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So he was sat there, and I remember he was reading this broadsheet with his glasses kind of slightly, you know, like very kind of intellectual guy actually. And anyway, and I walked in, and I was a bit nervous. And Denzel, if I'm not mistaken, you know, Barbara called me over. He's like, come over here, lads, you know. And just like made me feel really welcomed, you know what I mean? So that was a wonderful memory. And then actually there was the memory that I hold dearest, not to sound dramatic about it, but the memory that I do hold dearest was at the end of the show, which we did in White City when we did the BBC live studio audience, which is now, you know, luxury flats, by the way. We did the show. It went well. In the green room, I had all my family there, which was lovely. They would all come along. Went to the green room, and Nicholas, bless him, calls me over and says, "No, I want you to come and meet. I'd love you to come and meet my mother." So he calls me over to his mum, and he says, "Mum, this is Nabil, you know," and you know, and he said to me, he said to her, which was so nice. He goes, "I'm going to really enjoy watching Nabil's career explode." It was just like such a lovely, generous-hearted thing, and he won't remember that. I doubt it, but I do. And you always, especially at that point, a little kind of kindness and generosity of spirit. You don't forget something like that.
No. So sweet.
Yeah, really, really, really kind man, actually. Really kind man.
I was thinking about your episode, obviously, before we're going to have a chat. And you had the ultimate experience because you had a scene with all the cast, really, didn't you? Trigger, Boyce, Denzel, Del, Rodney, Cassandra, Raquel, Damien, everybody.
The lot. Yeah. It was, yeah. I mean, there was that scene in the when I first arrived, and they're all around me questioning me, you know, and just, well, not questioning me, deciding what to do with me, and they say, you know, he might be a member of Al Qaeda, and they say, well, does he look like he works in a furniture store and all that? That scene where they're all kind of around me, that was fantastic as well, because being the kind of object of all their gaze, do you know what I mean? That was real fun, and obviously all I had to do, which is harder than it looks, is just stay switched on. You know, it's hard. It's not, no, it's not neuroscience, but it's to stay a lot switched on and react in a way which, is convincing, but not over the top, that you actually don't know what people are saying and you don't know what's going on. And, that was fun to do as well, because there's always something lovely about playing something with, there's always something great about having something like that as an activity, as a kind of subtext. You know what I mean? It kind of keeps the scene alive, and I think that worked actually.
I actually think it's one of the best scenes in the last 3 episodes. Definitely, I think that episode, as you said, it's a very strong episode. I'd say it's the best of the last 3.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Just the whole scenario, as you said. I mean, you get brought back to the flat. It's just everything about it.
Because I think the reason why I think it works is because in a bizarre way you can see the logic to it. It's kind of as mad as it is, it's slightly conceivable. Like, what do? We don't let him go because he might cut a deal. Okay, what we do? Oh Jesus, let's take him up to the flat. Okay, who is he? Oh, he's your mate. It's like one thing. You can see how that unpacks.
Give him a vindaloo, yeah.
Yeah. And and that kind of bizarre, that setup with the ladies, where they're just looking. It's a great scene where nobody quite knows what to do, and that's such a kind of delicate scene, because it's the kind of thing where there's a tension in it. It's like one step away from being quite boring, like if nothing happens, but that tension of, okay, what's going to happen, who is he, it's like that kind of thing is really fun to play. It's like an actor's fun gig, because you're just all trying to find out how long can we pull this off for, has he got a name? And of course, I mean, and then of course another thing, Gary, I mean, what a great choice for a name. For me, I couldn't be further away from looking like a Gary. So it's like, just that alone is just hysterical,
I was reading the press actually about the name Gary. I think it's true that there's not been someone called Gary since 1992 or something strange, isn't it?
Yeah, I read this somewhere. I remember this coming up. But I mean, listen, to this day, as I said, I mean, the amount of Garys that I get, and it never ceases to surprise me. I mean, like when I think about it, what was it, 2002 or 3?
Yeah, 2002.
Yeah. I mean, that is insane. That's 19 years ago.
Yeah, 19 years ago.
Yeah. And to think that it still holds weight. My neighbour, literally a couple of days ago, obviously it makes it easier that it stays kind of present, because they do play it. They still play it. So it's introduced a whole new generation. There are lots of kids, for instance, young kids who love that character. There's something kind of simple about the setup, which really means that lots of people love it. It's a kind of old school way of doing things, It's like the old Faulty Towers, you know, another great comedy programming is, you know, those series, they never get old because those setups are so straightforward, but they're hysterical because it's about character.
Do you know how many people watched that episode that you were in, by the way?
I'm not sure, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, my brother sent this to me. It's like one of the highest ever, I think. I believe it was 12 or 13 million.
It was 16.3 million that
wow.
watched it. The most watched show that year.
That's insane.
Yeah, and I was looking what was second. It was actually England v Brazil in the World Cup was second. So you can imagine how people were watching the football, but Only Fools and Horses actually
That's
beat
amazing. That's
football.
Really also, obviously, television was very different then. We didn't have this, you know, I don't think we'd get numbers like that now, given the streaming services that are available. I don't know how that's all, you know, I'm not really a numbers man, but yeah, I mean, you know, it's I mean, Christmas Day. I mean, Christmas Eve, wasn't it?
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day, Jesus, that's right. Christmas Day. God damn it. Wow. I mean, yeah, no, I mean, unbelievable, really. Sometimes you go through life. I mean, I sometimes pinch myself. Every now and again, I'll look at the work that I've been lucky enough to be part of, and I don't know, I just kind of, I have a lot of gratitude for it because I'm very lucky. I've worked with some fantastic, and also in all kinds of different genres and different, you know, there's, you know, broad comedy like that. What is obviously national soap operas. But I mean, last October, I did a little bit of work on a film which is coming out by one of my favorite directors of all time, a chap called Terrence Malick. And he makes very, very few films. And, you know, I got a little bit of work on him. So it's just like great. I'm very lucky, very fortunate.
And I suppose as a busy actor, that must be hard to do sometimes, to just stop and think, oh, I've done this was great. And because you're so busy at the time, aren't you, normally?
Well, I think sometimes it's not even so much to do with busy, because I'm certainly not, you know, it's not as though, like, you know, scripts are being thrown at me every other day. You know, as I think one of the realities which I often impress upon actors coming up in the business is prepare yourself for a lot of downtime too, and prepare yourself for lots of no's, and prepare yourself for, you know, for difficulties. It's a mental game. It's you know, and even as you go up the kind of ladder, you go up the ladder, but you've still got competition that's going up the ladder. In fact, the road gets narrower, you know. No, I think it's just to do with just a general human condition. Often we don't really take stock of what we have. It's easier to think about what you don't have. Whereas actually I find it very important to think about what you have going for you. You know, what you have, all the blessings, because, you know, this life is full of blessings and curses. I mean, we're all going to get our, you know, there's nobody I know that's not touched by tragedy, difficulty, heartache, financial, you know, every single person I know has that. Nobody, you know, it's part of the human condition. So it's just, sometimes you look at things like, you know, it'd be easy for me to say, oh my God, you know, so-and-so, I started before him and now look at him, or so-and-so's doing it. I think that's a treacherous, those be treacherous waters to be sailing in. They call it the compare and despair. Don't do it. Stick on your game plan, get on with what you can, be grateful for what you've got, and work towards what you want, you know, and see what happens there, you know.
I didn't realise your character name, first name, until today. Do you remember what it was? Obviously, Gary's the character, isn't it? But I didn't realise what your real name was on the show.
Remind me.
It was Rashid.
Yeah, that's it. Rashid.
Yeah,
Rashid Mamoon.
Mamoon. That's right. Mamoon.
Yeah.
Mamoon. Yeah.
yeah. That's right. Mamoon. Yeah. Because the chap Nusso, who played my dad, sweet fella. I haven't spoken to him for a while, but he lives up in Bristol. He's got a theatre company up there. Lovely fella. I mean, even he still gets people remember him. You're Gary's dad.
Gary's dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any memorabilia from the show, Nabil, at all? You know,
funnily enough,
you didn't keep Dell's
pajamas. I've got the BBC. I've got the pass for the BBC White City show somewhere. I did have the script, and I actually gave it away. I actually had the original script.
Oh wow!
and I gave that away. Well, it was for a good cause. But no, I don't. I mean, I don't know. At that point, you just take things for granted, so you don't ever. It's like you forget that one day it's not going to be there. Do you know what I mean? And now it's funny as I creep up towards my, my late 40s. It's funny. I do like to take pictures, or I do like to document things, because I'm aware that you don't know how. One day you want to leave some stuff. You want to be able to look back on things, and these are memories to be cherished.
Definitely. And I mean, just to imagine how many people you've made laugh through that one scene alone.
I mean, I have this all, like I said, I have this a lot. I do meet people, and they are very, very grateful, and it really makes me smile. It genuinely makes me smile. I'm like, that's really, that's nice. It's nothing, like I said, I don't think there's a better thing to do than, well, to provoke somebody into like deep action and thought is the only thing better than making them laugh. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're not profoundly changing somebody's, like sometimes you might hear there's somebody I like who's a writer who has inspired a lot of people, and sometimes you get the response, people have contacted this person and said, you've changed my life. I mean, that's the only thing that tops making people laugh, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've done something which has profoundly changed the way I think. I mean, obviously that would be that, that's the job of philosophers, I guess. But making somebody laugh, bringing some reprieve, bringing some levity into somebody's life is the best.
Where would you? Best medicine.
Say that again.
Laughter is the best medicine. It
really is. Yeah, I totally agree. I really do. I mean, I had this the other day. I was watching a couple of episodes of QI on Dave, and they were just making me laugh because they were just having fun. And it's so clever, but it's so full of heart. I spent about 2 hours, watched like 3 episodes or 2 episodes, and I was laughing so much my cheeks were hurting. And at the end of it, I just thought, God, I needed that. Oh, man, I really needed that laugh. It's like I'd just taken a big dose of medicine. And, of course, that's exactly what it is, because when you laugh, the internal circuitry is, sending all that good stuff coursing through your nervous system, and things that seem daunting kind of, you lose some of their heat. Oh, okay, fair enough.
Where would you rank your role on Only Fools and Horses? Because I know you're in EastEnders, you were Tariq in EastEnders, and you've done a lot of movies.
Oh, it's definitely one of the most important things I've ever done. It's definitely it's the thing I'm most fondest of. It's up there, no doubt about it. It's up there, definitely up there. EastEnders wasn't the same for me. EastEnders was a lot of, I found the public interfacing much trickier on EastEnders. EastEnders is a very different thing, especially in the period that I was in, which was at the height of the kind of press savagery, as I called it. It was a time where you were currency, so you were under a magnifying glass, and it just felt very much like you were watched, and you couldn't trust anybody, and you were kind of currency. People wanted to sell stories on you, and it's total different. So I didn't enjoy my time in terms of the public thing, and I've never been one. I'm not interested in fame. I'm not interested in that, celebrity and fame. It doesn't interest me. I find it just doesn't interest me. It's not why I did what I did. Obviously a byproduct of doing stuff, what I have now, which I'm really happy I have, is there's enough of a body of work that people know me as an actor who has done various things. So it's like, oh, I'm about to go on to Vera to do an episode as a guest episode, and I'm looking forward to that. But it was interesting to speak to the director and him talk about several jobs that I've done and why he wanted to use me and why they offered me the job. And I loved what you did in X, and that was really interesting what you did in Y, and that was a great show. So suddenly that's different. It's like, okay, I'm a craftsman, I'm doing what I'm doing, and people respect that. It's not because I'm on this show and because people recognize me. I'm not that interested in that.
And before we go, Emily, have you got another question for Nabil? Or
I think they've all been asked.
Yeah. Oh,
Good. We've rattled through them.
Yeah.
How long did it take to film your scenes, Nabil? Would it have been a week or longer?
No,
or...
it was. If I'm not mistaken, I have the definite memory of a couple of weeks in Bristol, and then they booked me for a week for the radio live studio audience, which we did obviously on live. So yeah, so again, it's funny, isn't it? 2 or 3 weeks commitment, and it has that kind of an impact. It's fantastic.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for joining us, Nabil.
No, it's a pleasure.
Yeah,
Will
thanks,
you let
Nabil.
me
Nice to meet
know
you.
when this is all done and all that, so I can have a listen?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm going to get editing it now.
Right.
But I'll send you a link to our page. I'll put a couple of clips up and stuff as well.
Brilliant.
So you can check that out.
Listen, thank you all for the time and asking me to do this. I know that it's been difficult to get, timings haven't been the greatest, but I'm glad we've got there eventually.
Could we have a Gary before you go?
You can certainly have a Gary. Gary.
Gary.
Gary.
God bless you guys. Yeah, take care.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.